What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, checking out some new weathery cards. We've got a spell, a monster, and a trap. And before I get you guys too amped up and excited, I'm gonna just say temper your expectations. I have read these cards. I was super excited about the trap, and then the very last line of the card just it killed all my enthusiasm. I was like, come on, cuz, how could you ruin this card like that? I mean, maybe you guys will have different opinions, and I know some people are gonna be like, oh my goodness, Cap G, you are so high on the magic bullets, you're being biased here. No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just wanted Weathery to be good because the artwork on these cards, especially that card Rain Weathery Pattern, the one that has like the frog and it's raining. Oh my god, that card is so gorgeous. And a lot of these cards in the archetype, like, look at this. This looks so awesome. But the cards are really underwhelming to me. And I don't know, the 6 Samurai support already is trash. We already knew that. So I was hoping that the other 2 archetypes would be good because the Samurai support is trash. But anyways, let's go ahead and look at the cards. And you guys can tell me if you think they're good, because I've looked at them. I wasn't really impressed, honestly. So the monster is Snow Weathery Seal. Level 3 Earth Fairy, 0 attack, so you're not going to be running much over with it. 2200 defense, and you can only use the first effect once per turn. When it's normal summoned, it says on here on YGO organization, it says you can place 1 Weathery spell or trap card directly from your deck face up to your spell and trap zone. I know you guys say I can't read, but are you placing it, or like, I'm gonna assume that you're taking a spell and trap from your deck and you're activating it, but I don't know if it counts as being activated, but you probably still get the effect of the spell and trap card, because most of them seem to be continuous anyways. But I'm not sure what take place means, but let's just eliminate one of those words and I think that we understand what the card does. Now that's actually a pretty good effect. Like, if you told me that there's an archetype that you can normal summon the monsters and you just basically get to, well, you know what? That's like Dynamite, right? The freaking True Draco card, where your opponent activates something, you basically get to take one of your traps or whatever and just activate them on the field. This card kind of does the same exact thing. It just does it on normal summon. Then the second effect is going to be built into a bunch of cards and the archetype. Once per turn during the standby phase, if this card is currently banished and was banished since the previous turn because it was banished to activate a Weathery card's effect, special summon this card. So yeah, it's basically, you know, all the Weathery spells and traps, like, they banish your guys, and then this basically says that if it was banished, you can summon it back. So that was kind of expected. I think, actually, you know what? This card's okay. This card's perfectly fine. Let's look at the continuous spell card. This one is, oh god, this one's really bad. Continuous spell card. What the hell am I even saying at this point? Just like all the other cards, you can only control 1. This is Cloud Weathery Pattern. Let's see the artwork on this one. This one's okay. The trap looks awesome. Yeah, the cloud card looks okay. Let's see. A weathery effect monster in the main monster zone in the column as this card, in the same column as this card, as well as main monster zones adjacent to that zone, gain this effect. So basically, if you have a monster in the same column, every monster that is directly adjacent to it, so it can be your entire field. I didn't recognize that in my other video, but yeah, it can technically be your entire field as long as there are no gaps in between the zones. The quick effect is so bad though. It says quick effect. Except during the damage step, you can banish this card, which would be the monster, then target 1 face-up monster, half its attack. Also, it can attack directly. These effects last until the end of the turn. I just don't understand how that's really good. Okay, so you're telling me I can banish one of my weathery monsters, then I can, like, make one of my other weathery monsters attack directly, but it has to have, like, half of its stats. How is that good? I just, like, that's worse than the Grand Mole effect. Like, the Grand Mole effect was actually pretty decent because it's really good against, obviously, extra deck monsters or maybe tributes or rituals or something. But unless you're trying to push for game through a bunch of monsters on your opponent's side of the field and you need to get direct damage, how is that good? Like, I just don't see that being useful in, like, a 6 or 7 round event. Like, how many times is that really going to come up? But the trap card had a lot of potential, and then the last line just, it killed me. So obviously this is this is Aurora Weathery Pattern, which, by the way, so I looked at this, I heard the card's name, Aurora Weathery Pattern, and I'm not exactly sure what Aurora means. I know it has something to do with like storms and whatnot, because if I'm not mistaken, I'm not gonna search this, but I am 90% certain that that is Storm's name on X-Men. So I was like, oh, Aurora, okay, maybe this is licensed by Marvel Comics or something like that. So Aurora must mean something with Storm, because yeah, the X-Men Storm, that's her name. It says you can only control one Aurora, I can't pronounce it, Aurora Weathery Pattern. It must be like wind or something like that. Then obviously that's kind of the same effect where if you have a monster in the same column as it, all your monsters that are adjacent to that monster gain this effect as long as they're in the main monster zones and as long as they're effect monsters. It says when exactly one card is added to either player's hand, you can banish this card, which means the monster. Banish that added card, and if you do, that player draws one card. And that's the last part deflated me so hard, because at first I was thinking, oh my god, it's like a Dark Law. If my opponent Rotas, if they Tenki, if they Bullhorn for exactly, if they search one card, I can basically just banish that card. Like, that's fucking awesome. That happens in Yu-Gi-Oh all the time. The game of Yu-Gi-Oh is predicated on searching and just adding cards to the hand. But what the fuck, Konami? Why do I have to let them draw a card? Now, I don't know about you guys, but I am an advantage player. I've been that way since GX. I do not believe in letting my opponent draw cards. In fact, historically, there's only been one card I have ever really played and fucked with that lets my opponent draw cards, like ever. That's Dark Bribe. That is the only card that lets my opponent draw cards that I will even tolerate or consider playing. Why couldn't, and actually what I thought, because I kind of skimmed through it before I actually read it, I thought it was going to let me draw a card and banish a card from their hand. I was like, oh my god, this is the best card in this entire fucking Spirit Warrior set. That would have been so ridiculous if I got the banisher card from their hand and then I got the fucking draw. That would have been nuts. But instead, I get the banisher card, but who cares? They just replace it with a different card. Like, I understand wanting to get rid of the card they search because it's probably important, but like, the end game is to kind of get somewhere, and you're not really getting anywhere. Like, I just don't believe in letting my opponent draw cards. Like, it just would have been better if they didn't draw the card, or if I would have drawn the card. That would have been nuts. But fuck it, like, why do I want my opponent to just replace one card with another? So I don't know. You guys are just gonna say that I'm being too harsh on the deck. I think the monster, ironically, I think is the best card. I think that this discontinuous spell is completely just, I wouldn't even run that shit, to be honest. I think this trap could have been so good, and then they added these like last 4 or 5 words to it and just ruined the fucking card. I mean, I guess you'll probably still play it because you probably have to play some of these, but I don't know. I feel like they just completely stripped the potential of this card with the last line. So you guys let me know what you think. I think that this is 100% now just a casual deck with amazing artwork that will probably never see competitive play, but I've been wrong before on this channel. I'll be wrong again. You guys let me know. Maybe I'm wrong here. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this always, and subscribe if you have not already.